It took me a while to organize my thoughts around Chris Kaba and how the police officer who unalived him was found not guilty, because there are so many factors involved in this. Yes, Chris Kaba had a violent criminal record, but he was unalived by a police force that's 4 times more likely to use violence against black suspects than white suspects. And yes, that is a picture of a Metropolitan police officer putting his knee on the suspect of a black man just a month after George Floyd. They're also 56% more likely to stop black suspects than white suspects when driving. But weirdly, they stopped recording that data just a month after the incident with Chris Kaba. So the black suspect did bad things, and the police force that unalived him is also bad. So how do you weigh up both sides of the issue without both sidesing the issue? For me, I start from the place that George Floyd also had a criminal record, but that criminal record didn't justify the police officer executing him in the street. So anybody basing their entire opinion about this case on Chris Kaba's criminal record, especially when the police officers weren't aware of that when they unalived him, is being dishonest. What we have to address is the system that keeps putting black people and the police in conflict with each other. Because as Chris Kaba's family said,
for the Kaba family, justice was never about this verdict alone. They were clear from the beginning. This was always about more, about real systemic change that would have prevented Chris from being killed and that can prevent other people from being killed in this country by the police in the future.
Because something is obviously very, very wrong with the way the police view black people in the UK if a 13-year-old boy can be chased, tackled and threatened with a taser while on a charity bike ride with his father simply because he met the description of black man on a bike. Like, you can hear how vague that is, right? Can you imagine if the police ever went out and threatened to electrocute the first white boy they saw on a bike? And the annoying thing is, it's not like the people in power don't understand the problem. In 2021, the government's Beating Crime plan acknowledged the link between poverty, a lack of opportunity to escape that poverty via a job, and turning to crime. Government's data also says that black households are statistically the poorest in the country. And in order to get a job that would help you escape that poverty, black people have to work 80% harder than white people. And this is proven using Oxford University research where the only thing they changed was the ethnicity of the name on the CV. So when you put all that together, that means racism in society leads to racism in employment, which traps black people in poverty, leaving them living in areas that are over-policed by the police force that has an institutional bias against them, and is far more likely to use violence against them, making situations like this inevitable. But it is actually avoidable. For example, anonymizing CVs would blow a massive hole in that poverty prison pipeline. It wouldn't fix everything, but it is a necessary step. And make the police less racist, sexist, and homophobic, otherwise you're going to keep having situations like this, like what happened with Sarah Everard, and people will keep losing faith in the police. And ultimately, I place more responsibility on the government and the police officers of that government to behave correctly than I place on the members of the communities that they victimize. Because you can complain about Chris Kaba's criminal record as much as you want, but ultimately, you're just focusing on the symptom and ignoring the systemic problems that make that symptom more likely to flare up. And finally, my condolences to Chris Kaba's family.